here and some more Overwatch 2 action. Not
Is this thing on now? Hello, hello. We're back. We're back, and now you can hear me. We're back and casting some Overwatch 2 action. It's me, Jokersrandsome, and Lordthethan, bringing you this 4-game slate for today. And we've got a nice series to start off with. We've got Harrisburg, Hollidaysburg. That's the team name, and I believe it is Richland as well. So we've got that to start things off here today.
For us casters, it's take 2 of our intro, Joker. But for these teams, there is only one take today, and the stakes are quite high. We are still only about halfway through the season, but currently Hollidaysburg is looking to secure themselves into the second place spot by securing a series win this afternoon against Richland, and Richland is still looking for that first win. So, for this matchup to play out pretty intensely, it shouldn't surprise any of us. So there's... Oh, goodness, I'm losing my mind. So Hollidaysburg and Richland is going to be a very exciting matchup. We've got a couple of other ones that I'm going to be excited to talk about, one of which is actually a Division 2 game, which I'm super excited to see because I haven't gotten to watch any of the Division 2 teams yet. But you guys can see it up on the screen there. We'll have not Bishop Guilfoyle versus West Branch. Instead, we'll end up with, I believe it is, West Branch versus Richland, and then after that we'll resume with our regular schedule: Ferndale versus Greater Johnstown, Shade versus Everett, going from there. But Joker, I want to talk about the match at hand. That's why my brain fogged there briefly, was because I wanted to talk about things like the map pools and the strength of the Hollidaysburg roster and the opposition that Richland can put up today. So fill me in a little bit. What are the rosters looking like this afternoon for these two fantastic teams?
So we've got on the side of Hollidaysburg, Zero, someone I don't really recognize. Maybe it's another person that's on their roster. I don't really recognize the name. V Snipes is the name we all know and love from Hollidaysburg. Bonsai, another new name. I feel maybe someone's changed their name up. Maybe, I don't know. TTV Pekka, another mainstay, and Gorg. So 3 new names for the Hollidaysburg here. It'll be interesting to see how they live up to this Hollidaysburg squad that have won the previous championship.
So these new faces, it's going to be perhaps some experimenting that we get to see from Hollidaysburg, which is always a lot of fun to watch unfold. But that is only one half of the coin today. We'll be looking at Richland's roster as well, which includes MJ Forever, Mayday, TZM Skyline, Ian Rage, and Fire Skull. These are names that are still kind of new to me, Joker. Not quite solidified champs like Forest Hills Rangers or the Hollidaysburg squad. So for Richland, they just want to make a great or a great impression this afternoon, not only for us who are bringing you guys this match, but also for their opponents today. Joker, before we hop into first map, just real quick, we can run it through. You guys see it at the bottom of your screen there. Map pools are in effect. All 4 series today will be played on the same 3 maps. That's going to be Oasis, Shambali Monastery, which is fantastic, and then finally New Queen Street, if we make it to that elusive 3rd map. Now the push game mode instead of Assault. Joker, do you have any expectations for things we might see on Oasis?
Well, it's funny enough, because I casted a tournament over the weekend, and both times we went to Oasis to start the series off, and it was I did see some Reinhardt there, but we didn't really get to see this sub map. But this is what I'm expecting from these 2 teams, really.
out in some brawly compositions. And again, you know, Joker, we've talked about this a little bit. These kinds of comps are highly favored for these high school teams. So it's just a matter of kind of rolling into each other, pressing all of your buttons, using all of your cooldowns, utilities, and then seeing who walks out on the other side when the dust settles. Right now, Fire Skull is going to be sent back to spawn.
Yeah, V-Snipes on the Bastion, starting things off for Hollidaysburg. And then they've got things to go off it, but now with Mayday finding Bonsai out of this fight, but there's just a lot of damage now coming out from the rest of Hollidaysburg here. That Bastion just does so much damage as Hollidaysburg are going to be able to get this first capture.
You're seeing the Bastion run in pro circuits at the moment, partially because of his damage potential. Another aspect to Bastion being played here is also because of the other characters in the game that are pretty good right now. You know, how else are you going to deal with a, 1600 health point barrier on Reinhardt? You shred it with copious amounts of damage. That's what the Bastion is here for. Now, MJ Forever isn't playing the Reinhardt, but Ramatra, it's a very similar principle. You just barrage him with damage and he can't go in and pummel like he wants to. That's a huge pick.
Yeah, that is a huge pick indeed. And, well, they go into this here. They're MJ Forever trying to deal the damage with Ramatra, but it's not going to work out. They're caught between an ice wall and the rest of Hollidaysburg as Gorg finds two. And I wanted to expand upon the comps that you were talking about with the Bastion. It is that composition that was really made popular by the Contenders squad. I believe what is their name now? It's changed so many times.
Oh yeah, your guess is as good as mine on that one. I know that NA is forcing it at the moment.
It was Riz Academy, but they decided to change it. Let me quickly do a quick look here. Look at the North American qualifiers. Trick Room. That's what the team name is now, and that's who has popularized this Bastion composition. As the Kitsune Rush comes in, I didn't get to let you talk at all. Sorry, I rambled on, but it's going to work out well for Hollidaysburg. And now, Lordthethan, is your time to shine.
Hey, there's not much for you to cover there, Joker. It was a quick fight there for Hollidaysburg, and yeah, you know, it's important that we know our Overwatch professional little tidbits of knowledge there. Definitely one of my favorite things in the graveyard seasons of Overwatch was to watch these professional teams. But we're watching the high school teams right now, and really what we're watching currently is the conclusion of Oasis Gardens in the heavy favor of Hollidaysburg, able to take the map 100 to nothing. You know, and really, Joker, you mentioned you're like, oh, I took your block, but I still got to talk because there's a fight going on. There isn't too much going on.
Yeah.
You know, you're not seeing massive ultimate exchanges, huge neutral fights where there's speed amps and assault configurations and Maywalls coming up. You know, it's really just kind of quick duels happening on the sidelines, early pickoffs, and you know that's really the thing that Richland wants to orient themselves around if they want to win this round of Oasis City Center, is really just make sure that they're winning their individual engagements, and if they can't, that they're playing as a team, and insofar as they're playing as a team, that they're adhering to some order of operations for these brawl-oriented comps. So see if they can pull that off. They're still up against a challenge. This composition from Hollidaysburg is nothing to scoff at.
Interestingly enough, this is one of the sub-maps that I saw a lot of, and it was dominated by Wrecking Ball. We're not seeing that hero currently out from either of these two squads. They're still opting to go with the Reinhardt or the Ramatra, and it's working out well for Hollidaysburg so far, as Bonsai opting to go over to the Bastion this time around as V-Snipes takes up their signature Genji as Fire Skull on high, rapidly throwing those kunai into the rest of Hollidaysburg, but they haven't found a pick. They haven't found the damage because, well, it's so much better when you get headshots with those kunai, and well, the rest of that goes on. V-Snipes is killing the rest of your squad.
Yeah, V-Snipe's just going, kind of ripping and tearing, if you will, until it is done. And there's Fire Skull done with this portion of the fight. Ian Rage quick to follow as well. Particularly meaningful, those two support picks, is that those two players are relatively close to their support ultimates, very powerful. And so you want to minimize that downtime and make sure that you're generating that as quickly as possible. On that, P.E.K.K.A just popped off.
Yeah,
I didn't even see what happened.
I think that was the follow to V-Snipes' Dragon Blade there. They popped it. Only found one pick, but then quickly afterward, TTV P.E.K.K.A had two.
Well, Ian Rage has the right idea. Even if that meant forfeiting that Kitsune Rush, Ian and Fire kind of swapping roles here. It gives Richland a defensive ult against the Nano Blade. The problem is that you have to last long enough in the round to build it, and that's looking less and less possible as the round drags on. Look, you've got two support ultimates for Hollidaysburg. Nothing to speak of for Richland quite yet. They need a good neutral, but really what they need is to avoid the barrage of ultimates that they're about to have to play into, and the stagger onto Fire Skull is definitely unfortunate.
Yeah, not good at all. 10 seconds to go here, and they're not going to have Fire Skull, the Kitsune Rush, the sound barrier. It's all coming down on the top of Richland's head as Hollidaysburg take map number 1.
Yeah, so Oasis, kind of, I would say 1 and done, but it's actually 2 and done, 2 rounds, but it was 100-0. So Hollidaysburg off to a really great start in this series. They're definitely poised to take the next map if they continue to play as clean as they have been. It definitely, playing the strong, the meta composition helps them out a little bit, but you'll always beat the meta, you'll always beat a better comp by being the better team, and so even if you're on a certain powerful hero, as long as you're still playing as a team, you're still a very powerful squad. And that's really what we're getting to see from Hollidaysburg. From Richland, we're getting to see some signs of life. We're getting to see some proactivity in the hero swaps. Man, oh man, I wish people in my ranked games were willing to swap the characters that they had rolled out on. And there you have supports on the side of Richland, Ian and Fire, who said, all right, I see something that needs to get done in our backlines, so I'm going to fill that role. I'm going to fill that need. And that's fantastic to see, especially from these high school players, right? You've got problem solving happening in these fights, in between these fights, and Richland is on top of that to try and give themselves an edge on Hollidaysburg. Will they be granted it as we head into Shambali Monastery, the escort mode for our next map? I guess there's only one way to find out, but Joker, I will tell you that this particular map is also good for these rush brawl style compositions, just as good for poke as well, arguably better, but I still anticipate Hollidaysburg to thrive on this map.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them thrive wherever they really need to, either be poke or either be a brawl. Even if we went back to goats, I'm sure they'd somehow thrive in. Let's go back to goats. Honestly, yeah, bring it back. Bring it back, Lordthethan. Yeah, I know you have the connectivity to Blizzard to bring back goats.
I didn't know that you and everyone else had the same prescription for rose-colored glasses through which you view the goat's composition and the mayhem that it wrought upon the Overwatch scene for too long. I'm getting flashbacks. Holy smokes. At one moment I'm casting Overwatch, and the next the mortars are raining down around me.
There's a Reinhardt. There's a Reinhardt swinging at you. There's dueling graviton surges.
There's the artillery configuration from Bastion coming down on me, which I know all too well being a support player. And it's why it's easy, or that's what makes it easy for me to look at these support players. Again, being proactive, looking to fill certain roles or certain needs for the team. We saw Ian there swap onto the Zenyatta. It's a great response to the Bastion. Has the Transcendence, which is a fantastic response to the Blade. It's just about if you're going to compete for the ult phase, you're also going to need to be able to keep up in the neutral, and that's really the area that I'm most excited to see Richland improve heading into this next map. Is just do a little bit better in these neutral fights when there aren't ultimates, crazy ultimates being flung across the map, and you're not losing 5 or 6 or 7 people all in one lengthy, prolonged fight. Just good, clean quick neutral fights. We will have a new roster coming in for Richland. Some changes. You'll actually have some role swaps. Ian and Fire Skull are going to be swapping off the support line. I think that's going to be Ian on tank with Fire on DPS, and then you'll have MJ Forever and Mayday swapping onto the support role. So as I mentioned, Richland looking to solve problems actively. This is part of that, saying, hey, what other roles do you play? What might give us a chance? And that's an energy that I don't know about you, Joker, but I gotta respect.
Oh yeah, I definitely like when I see proactivity to try to fix things before it gets too bad. And well, with the first to two format, it always when you're down one, you have to obviously be you're gonna have to fix something immediately, because well, you don't have another chance to lose out here. As well, maybe not. MJ Forever still on the tank role.
It might have been just Fire Skull swapping off of the support and onto DPS. So I think that's what it was. I probably read the order wrong, but I like Fire Skull on the May. I also like MJ Forever on the Winston. I'll tell you why. At University of Buffalo, we've been running quite a bit of Winston in response to these rush brawl compositions, and just being able to leap away from Reinhardt, play out of his effective range is actually a really powerful thing. So I'm really excited to see MJ Forever play a really clean monkey and really not brawl it out with the front lines here, which is exactly what they're doing. But they're staying sustained, if even for a brief moment, before the rest of the team fight is going to get in full swing here.
That was a pin and a half coming in from Zero there, taking on an tank configuration Bastion head on and staying alive. That's kudos to the support play of Hollidaysburg as they continue to hold on here.
And this is a support composition that you would look at with Reinhardt, and you would say this might not be enough sustain, but P.E.K.K.A. and Gorg are both allocating their resources really well. You can see it reflected in the ultimate charge. A little bit of a disparity forming between the backlines for Holidays and Richland right now.
As Fire Skull's already down out of this fight, as the tactical visor being popped already from V-Snipes, and not gonna find the picks, but there is damage onto the line as Zero goes in head first yet again, taking TZM Skyline back to spawn.
V-Snipes is already a third of the way to their next tactical visor as well. It's going to be built up even faster with the assistance of the Kitsune rush that P.E.K.K.A. is going to have on standby. Richland, all they need to do is just break out of this choke, but it's going to be very difficult to do so. First, they'll have to wait out the ults.
Yeah, as Bonsai finding that shot to the head as the Kitsune rush being popped here into the spawn of Richland here, trying to continue to burn that clock off, and it's working out well as they continue to find the picks they need.
Really important picks. You have another support swap here coming in from Ian and Mayday. Actually, swaps kind of across the board. And you do kind of wonder, okay, what about the ultimates that we have been building? But again, at this point, Richland needs agency, and if these picks are going to give them that, then this is huge. But that's a massive dragon from Bonsai.
Yeah, Bonsai almost going down, though, to Mayday, but staying alive. As Hollidaysburg continue to dominate.
I want to know what TCM Skyline is going to do with this assault, with the artillery configuration. You're in spawn, all you need is 1%. It's time to let it rip, I suppose.
They're just going to try to find something, anything, but no, they're just able to kite around it as they're now going to try to come out here, but the tactical visors in their faces. Zero yet again with the pin onto TZM Skyline, not able to play the game at all as V-Snipes continues to find pick after pick on Soldier.
And part of the reason, Joker, that Reinhardt is actually really good right now is that 1 second reduction on the pin cooldown. It went from 10 to 9 seconds, and now Zero can in 10 every 9 seconds instead of 10. Zero's having the time of their life right now, being able to play as deep as they want.
Ooh, wait, well,
Oh, but you gotta move the cart. You gotta stop the cart.
yeah, I think they realized it, and they're not going to be able to find as much progress as they would have hoped to. As Ian Rage does get that res onto MJ Forever, but it's res right into a Kitsune rush from TTV P.E.K.K.A. But hey, maybe they found the opening that they've needed. They found 2 picks, and P.E.K.K.A's back to spawn. The Sound Barrier coming out. The Dragon Strike coming in as well from Bonsai. As V-Snipes finds another ultimate on the board, and then they're going to find 2, make it maybe 3, finding 2 as it's the overtime bar ticking away. V-Snipes with 4 in the fight, and that is going to be it any second now.
I mean, it's so much fun watching V-Snipes aim and thinking, yeah, I could do that, and then getting into a lot, logging into Overwatch and being like, oh wait, I cannot aim like that. At least not without quite the warm up in Kovacs or Vaxta or something like that. Really good round there from Holidaysburg. It's just a fantastic stone wall that they put up that simply could not be broken, regardless of the firepower that Richland was willing to throw at it. This gives Holidaysburg a very attainable win condition. You are looking at a mere 13 meters of progress that have to be made in order for Holidaysburg to be able to say GG's, and we will see you in the next matchup. So Holidaysburg, Joker, there might not be much to comment on here besides how Richland could muster this defense. I'm intrigued to see what comp they roll out on.
They've got to figure something out, but it looks like Holidaysburg are going to try to run some pick-based comps with Zero still on that Reinhardt here as, let's see here, Richland opting to go with a lot of spam damage.
Quite a bit of healing as well. Mayday on the Ana also gives you a really good win condition. The Nano Annihilate from MJ Forever, and I think that's going to end up being really powerful. Now the question is, will the first fight really last long enough for these ultimates to be generated? If you're a Richland fan, you gotta hope so, and I'm definitely hoping so. I want to see a little bit more Overwatch from these kids, so let's see what they can muster.
They've got to muster something up here, and they've got to do it quickly as V-Snipes has already found the first pick in this fight, and I think it's all but over. V-Snipes getting in the face of Richland as Zero and Co. drive the cart into the end as Holidaysburg take map number 2 and the series in a quick 2-0 fashion.
So GG's for Holidaysburg. V-Snipes walking away with play of the game for this closing map as well. I'm sure off of one of the, I think it was 3 tactical visors that V was able to generate on the defense, which is really impressive. It's a demonstration of just how much damage V-Snipes was putting out.
Yep.
And when you're looking at that kind of pressure against your team, you're going to see all of the roles suffer. Supports won't be able to mitigate all of that damage. Tanks will only be able to last in the face of that damage for so long, and DPS players will struggle to match that damage. And so, we have an idea, of what makes Holidaysburg so great, that team play, that constant pressure that they're able to apply. But we also are able to understand why Richland was having a tough time figuring out how to really push back against Holidaysburg. And again, the answers for that is really just, holy smokes, the pressure on Richland there. So I got to give credit where credit is due. Again, the proactivity, the swaps, the willingness to just walk out and see what happens. That's the kind of energy that you have to have when playing Overwatch. It's a GG's for both teams today, even if it was a decisive win.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there, but hey, we still got more Overwatch action.
We do.
Continuing after this, we are going to go to a short little break. Do not go anywhere, but if you do, come back and watch some more Overwatch right after this. Welcome back. It's time to venture to a place we hardly know. Well, I could have just said somewhere only we know, but that's a different thing. That's a song. But we don't know this. We don't know this place. This is Division 2 Overwatch for the TEC High School Series. And I'm excited to see how these teams stack up against each other today.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. There's a handful of second teams from some of the schools that are in Division 1 that are playing in Division 2, and as well. You've got a couple of you've got rosters of people, Joker, that you and I don't know, and representing schools that we haven't gotten to watch. This is actually a real treat for us. We are watching schools that we do already know. It's going to be West Branch versus Richland for this Division 2 game. And because of that, we'll actually see a returning face from our previous series, which is awesome. But before we cover that, I think there's a couple of players that I want to highlight here as players to potentially keep our eyes on. Representing the West Branch squad is going to be Toby XDZ. I want to keep an eye on this DPS player for Richland. I'm sorry, that's not West. For West Branch. 16 elims, 4 deaths. You're looking average per 10 minutes or so. And to see 4 deaths is really good. That means that you're actually maximizing the amount of time that you're able to participate in the fight, which is awesome. But that's that's someone to keep an eye on for West Branch. For Richland, we have another player.
Yeah, we've got I Am Kendall 21. They are a support player. 8 eliminations is pretty good. Pretty good on the support. That's 6 deaths as well if it's throughout the entire series. It's pretty good. Averaging maybe 2 deaths or 3 deaths, depending on how many maps they played. It's pretty good. I mean, you need to keep your supports alive, and that's showing up for I Am Kendall 21 there.
Yeah, and so this is a particularly interesting matchup in Division 2 because these teams in the standings are actually so close to each other. Nothing that we necessarily need to look at, but Richland is 1-1, West Branch is 0-1. So West Branch in Division 2 is actually looking for their first win, where Richland is looking to keep the streak going and continue to accrue wins, put them closer and closer to that 2-0 Forest Hills position, actually matched by Shade and Gateway at the number 1 seed. So Richland wants to be competitive in that, and that's part of what this matchup is going to show us today. It's the same map pool as in our previous series, and as in our upcoming series as well. Oasis, Shambali Monastery, and then if we're able to get there, New Queen Street for our push map. Joker, you and I talked a little bit about Oasis earlier on City Center in particular. Talked about the absence of a Wrecking Ball. I don't imagine we see any of the Division 2 teams run out with a Wrecking Ball.
Probably not.
It would be a real treat. But, do we anticipate kind of the same style of Overwatch gameplay, of team compositions, the rush down, brawly, Reinhardt-centric comps? Or maybe do we see for this series maybe more flex picks, comfort picks, more of that experimenting like we got to see a little bit of from Hollidaysburg in the previous series?
I'm gonna have to expect probably more comfort-based picks in going forward. Well, I mean, obviously we'll see as we're loading into the game as things have started out already, and maybe not. We're seeing a Ramatra come out already from one of these teams here. From the side of, I believe that is a West Branch right now on blue, as Toby, that player we talked to about watching early on, starting things off well for West Branch, finding that first pick.
Yeah, really nice first fight there. West Branch, Trickster is already 50% to that rip tire, and that's actually pretty notable. Gives you an idea of the damage that they've been doing to Richland's formation. So West Branch taking this fight really well. They're just going to have to keep up the pressure and stay on this objective. That's a nice pick to secure here for Richland, though.
That is a nice pick, but to come quickly afterwards for West Branch to keep the point all nice and in their favor.
I'll tell you one of the things that I like about Richland's comp, though, against the spam damage of West Branch is Richland, Addy and Mayday are both on these main healers, these support heroes who can pump out a ton of healing. That's a nice pin. Is that 2 picks off of that? That's crazy!
That is crazy indeed. Iron Dragon finding 2 picks and yet again solidifying that fight off the back of them as it's accruing up to 55% now.
Keep an eye on this Earth Shatter from Iron Dragon. With Prince now on the Diva, there's no way for Richland to block it, so I'm really excited to see Richland kind of track this Shatter and be able to position around it so that as few of them get stunned as possible.
Yeah, as the Riptire is going to come out here now, finding 2
Nice
from NY Trickster. There as they're going to be able to find out Toby and Ender's World. Mr. Blackjack coming in with the Sojourn, looking for picks, and Signify also getting in on it as they're trying to come on to this point. It is looking good, but a nice fire strike from Iron Dragon stays the course for West Branch as Mayday is there, but they're not going to be able to push into a Reinhardt now with the backing of a Moira and a Lucio as the skill orb takes down Mayday.
Oh, and the Reinhardt and the Lucio both had their ultimates there as well, right? So you've got the offensive potential of putting, what is it Jaws used to say in Overwatch League, 6 men on their back, and then you also have the defensive potential of, upwards of 1,500 collective health granted to your team. So, West Branch, one of the things that I actually really liked about that is that at the end, they didn't just throw the ults out there, because if there was a touch to anticipate from Richland, then you would have needed those ults to contest. So, there's discretion, there's prudence on the side of West Branch right now, which made that a compelling round for them. See if Richland has an opportunity to bounce back here. University, you're kind of shoehorned into those brawl rush compositions, but here on Gardens, you're a little bit more free to operate, and I anticipate Prince is going to incur a little bit less opposition than they did the previous map.
Yeah, as they're going to come in 2 things here now. NY Trickster on to the Echo. Interestingly enough here, as they're going to pump in a lot of damage, but they are going to find that first pick in the fight. That DMAC does come through from Toby on the Bastion as West Branch capitalizes on that and just takes out everyone they need to.
And you're accruing ults the whole time as well. Signify on Richland is the only one who's really coming up on their ultimate ability, but for West Branch, they're building all of their most powerful cooldowns pretty rapidly, which is important. Look, the point is only at 14% progress, and you started this fight with another pick.
Yeah, another nice pick coming in here from Iron Dragon, who's just been unstoppable right now on this tank roll for West Branch as Addy trying to get out. They do get away with their life, but Richland not coming away unscathed still as West Branch continue to dominate right now.
They're going to be coming up on, once again, the sound barrier, the shatter as well. I do actually, I forego that you mentioned the Echo pick. I do like the flexibility of the Echo. You can go in on that, on those assassinations, just like Trickster did there onto Signify, but you can also apply that pressure onto the tanks that we got to talk a little bit about in the previous series. Nowhere near close enough to the dupe, but honestly, that's only one portion of Echo that is really important. The rest is per neutral. There's a neutral fight here breaking out.
Yeah, there is indeed, as Prince looking for an opening for Richland, but that was so much damage coming in from NY Trickster sticky bombs that it just really wrapped up the fight because they couldn't heal through it.
No, sticky bombs do so much damage to one target, let alone if that target is sitting like right within melee range of their 4 teammates. And it's a lot of ultimate charge as well. I think Trickster doubled the amount of ultimate generation that they had prior to starting that fight. Signify has a Riptire, speaking of ultimates, and that's a free win condition, albeit they're down a man now.
They are down a man, and I think this is all but over as West Branch take map number 1 in a convincing 2-0 fashion.
I was not even watching the timer. I wasn't even watching the point progress ramp up. I was looking at Richland, seeing, asking myself, how do you break this? How do you break into this defensive brawl composition that West Branch is running? And they're still working on an answer for that. But I think, definitely part of it is, opting out of these areas where the rush composition is really good, right? Yeah, I think that this is something I mentioned on the last series is, one of the cool things about Monkey, and this is shared with Diva, is that, you can just run off from the Rhine, force him to chase you while you kind of isolate and then eliminate, one target after the next, force Reinhardt to watch all of his teammates die before his eyes. That's a little bit sad, but kind of what you have to do when you're up against the Reinhardt composition. So, there's definitely some mid-game adaptations that can be made here on the side of Richland, and maybe also a little bit of cleanup there from West Branch as well. Although again, them making sure that they have their ults for when they need them is fantastic. For Richland, again, it's going to be a matter of making those adaptations. They're already 1-1 in the standings. They have that lead over West Branch, and they want to maintain that. So for Shambali Monastery, it's a matter of making sure they can hold the objective for as long as possible and push it as far as they possibly can.
Yeah, and I'm excited for Shambali here. Hopefully we get to see more of the map than our previous series. I mean, hey, who doesn't like a good spawn hold? But hey, I love seeing this full map. It's just so beautiful, so pretty, and a really good map nonetheless.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get into this game and see if there's any changes coming in from these two teams. See if they're opting to change up their playstyle, or they can continue to go with what was working for them.
Honestly, I would really appreciate Richland kind of sticking their guns here. We got to see again, kind of signs of life, little sparks that could have kindled into flames there. That would have led to perhaps a one duel and then a one fight and then a captured objective and then one round, one map. One series, right? You always got to compartmentalize those goals, take it one step at a time. So absolutely, I want to see Richland be able to swap onto their comfort picks, but I also think that they had some really good potential to look good on what they were already running. A team like West Branch, even here in Division 2, is a fantastic opportunity to refine the strategies that they're wanting to commit to for the rest of the season. Needless to say, we will have a change from Richland coming in. I think it's going to be end up being a role swap heading into Shambali. And so this is a great opportunity for you and me, Joker, to see the flexibility and the depth from these players.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing going into Overwatch 2, the flexibility, the need to be flexible going into this game with the not knowing what was going to be meta, and they're showing their flexibility as Signify and Mayday are swapping things around here, Lordthethan.
Yeah, so Mayday was the support for the last map, and Signify was the DPS. In fact, they were on the Junkrat there on Oasis Gardens. So with them swapping roles, that's going to put Mayday in charge of handling that pressure of winning those duels, and then for oh my goodness, I'm losing my mind already. I already forgot his name. I'm sorry, for Richland, the swap from Richland. I keep thinking about Striker. Joker, you're going to have to help me.
Signify?
Signify, there we go. Sounds close enough to Striker. And for Signify, it's just going to be making sure that their tank stays alive and that they also lock down those angles that are going to be challenged by, maybe a flanker that might be want to be run by West Branch. No flankers. You might have to deal with the echo off angling a little bit here on Shambali Monastery. There are actually some pretty good spots that you can fly to, get a lethal sticky bomb leading into a focus beam kill. But no, Signify actually on the Mercy, they just gotta kind of stick with Mayday and make sure that all of their damage instances are being amplified.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in here, starting things off, already making some good progress as Endersword in the back line, finding Addy out already. Toby is gone, but it's looking good for West Branch as Enderswold's in the back, finding another pick for West Branch. Top Dragon and NY Trickster as well getting in on it, but Enderswold finding 3 is the big story.
Yeah, I watched it from Mayday's perspective there, and Ender kind of juked him out a little bit and faded off into an area where Mayday was like, oh wait, I lost track of them, and that's a huge lead. Ender does get eliminated though this fight.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in here, and there's World, like you said, already down and out, and Toby coming through down. Iron Dragon does find Mr. Blackjack, but it's not looking good for West Branch at the moment. But just as I say that, the DMAC and now Iron Dragon able to go into the rest of Richland here as the respawns coming back of Ender's World to keep up Iron Dragon and keep this hold going for West Branch.
Look at this too. West Branch has 4 players who all already almost have their ultimates or do have them now. I don't think we've seen the Shatter or the Sound Barrier. We see the duplicate for the first time today from Trickster.
Yeah, the duplicate is out on to the Diva, trying to build up to that self-destruct. Can they get there in time? Is the question. No, they cannot is the answer, but maybe they don't need it. But Mr. Blackjack finding one already, but now going down to the Bastion. It's still looking good for West Branch at the moment, with the Coalescence coming out from Ender's World, trying to pump down Signify, and it's going to work out well. They've already found that pick with the Coalescence, but can they find more off the back? If the self-destruct coming out, they're trying to keep them up and healthy, and they do. No one goes down to the Diva Mac as it's looking better and better for West Branch. The pin coming through, not gonna find anything but the Shatter. No, they're not gonna use it there. They had them all lined up, Lordthethan, but they don't need it in the end. There's the Shatter coming out. Mr. Blackjack using the Death Blossom of their own, finding 2, but it's not going to be enough to win them this fight out.
No, Richland is still going to end up losing too many to get some progress here on this objective. A little bit unfortunate for them. They are running a little bit low on time, so being able to move the cart just a little bit here is really important.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in this next fight. No ultimates on the board for Richland, and that huge ultimate coming in. The artillery strike coming in from Toby, finding 2. The Coalescence also being used, helping with the DMAC of Prince as the team kill gong sounds yet again. It's down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's Ender's second Coalescence, by the way. The first one they had used to kill Signify while they were in their Valkyrie, which is Signify's ultimate. You see Ender already 27% to a third Coalescence, while Signify's still working towards that second Valkyrie. And again, you know, it kind of just gives you a picture of how difficult it is for Signify to get ult charged because their team is dying so fast. There's a lot of damage going into Richland.
There is indeed, as Ender's World yet again getting in on that kill feed for West Branch. As there it goes. They're going to look to try to turn the tide. Addy is going to try to build up to this Coalescence before the overtime bar ticks away, but that's not going to happen as they're back to spawn. The overtime bar ticks away, and I must have cursed it, Lordthethan, because we did not get to see any more of the map yet.
Which is so sad, because if we got to see more of the map, I would actually talk about the other section of the map. You know, I'd mention the qualms of the player base that it's just it's just one big high ground push, which is always absolutely brutal. Talk about the again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, the echo flank routes that you can capitalize on if you're playing one of those assassin style DPS characters. So there's a lot of this map to talk about, Joker. But it seems as if we'll just have to wait for the remaining 2 series of the afternoon for a chance to talk about them. For now, Richland, they want to hold this. The question is how. They found a composition to do so on, and I like the ideas behind it. You've got lots of sustain, lots of support coming from Signify and Addy on the Mercy Moira. You've got a lot of damage mitigation and point presence from Prince as well. You might not think that, or you might think that not having a barrier is a huge deficit. It's not. Diva's actually got some nutty damage mitigation potential. Mm-hmm. And then on top of the obscene damage that Mr. Blackjack is going to be able to pump out, you've also got that one-shot potential and a demand for respect from the angles that Mayday will be maintaining. For West Branch, it's a straightforward endeavor. Stack on the cart, push into Richland, win the fight, win the map, and then the series. But for Richland, they do have a couple of tools that they can use to delay the inevitable or to swing this whole series.
Well, they've got to do something. Well, man, I think it's all went over there.
I hyped it up, Joker. I should have said, let's see what Richland does, and then waited for the narrative to unfold. But no, as you cursed it, I have as well. But perhaps a blessing, in fact, as West Branch does take the series 2-0 and solidifies themselves at 1-1 in the Division 2 standings.
Yeah, very good for West Branch to get back into things here as we're looking at Iron Dragon yet again, who was just a standout for West Branch to this afternoon. Just finding pick after pick for the side of West Branch there as well with Ender's Word or Ender's Sword, one of the two. But they were incredible as well on that Moira.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, one of the things that I really liked about that play of the game is the Reinhardt holding up a shield to prevent losing their life there. Always an easy thing to talk about is like, oh well, you died, but you had so much of your barrier left, and so these little moments of clarity from these players, evidence that they're really thinking about what they're doing, the decisions that they're making in game. Again, I just have insane respect for it. But Joker, we have I think we've sung the praises of these teams enough at this point. We've got 2 more series to cover and only a little bit of the afternoon remaining. So if you haven't already, go grab a snack, hydrate, tell some friends that you're watching so that they can come join us, because we're going on a short break and we'll be right back on the other side.
Welcome back. Now we're back to the place that somewhere we only know. We're back to Division 1 here, Lordthethan, and we're going to see, I believe it is Ferndale versus Greater Johnstown.
Yeah, and one of these teams we're already very familiar with. Ferndale, we've gotten to see a couple of weeks now consecutively, and it's been a lot of fun. We're actually missing a couple of the mainstay players that I'm used to seeing from the Ferndale squad, so it's going to be interesting to see how the synergy is improved with some of the either new additions or substitutes to the roster, or what new heroes or compositions or identities those substitutions lead Ferndale into deciding. For Greater Johnstown, I mean, we know all of these players: Cherry Bloom, River Galaxy. You've got Trojan 1 and Trojan 4, which, if I'm correct, are Zeke and Cooper respectively, and then Gaming Genist, which who plays support as well. For Ferndale, like I said, a couple of names that we already recognize. You've got Gaming Bumble, Layla Fox play, but instead of Matic, you have Widow 21. You've got Damons, and I'm the Mad Lad in the lineup for Ferndale. So this is going to be an interesting match, because this is the number 4 and the number 6 seed. That is Greater Johnstown and then Ferndale, and so this match is going to be pretty competitive.
Interestingly enough, so yeah, you said we didn't not seeing Matic 21 for the side of Ferndale, who was our player to watch, but we do have, and I'm curious, maybe it is the same person, since both of them have 21 in their name.
Yeah, I'm wondering that too.
So the Widow 21 might be Matic 21. Maybe we could get a confirmation. Maybe we cannot. But on the side of Greater Johnstown, the player to watch is the far in the sky River Galaxy. Look at that, 37 elimination and only 8 deaths.
I mean, what was it we saw earlier from the previous play of the match? It was like 16 elims and 4 deaths. River Galaxy doubles that, and it's not just on one hero either. River Galaxy plays the whole gamut of DPS characters, so it's always a fun game to guess what River is going to run out as on the DPS role, and then see how they get value on that particular character. I'm very excited to hop into the first map, which of course is going to be Oasis. We might be starting on a different submap than we have previously. I think so far we've seen showdowns on Gardens and University for the first round of Oasis. We haven't yet seen University, and that's again, Joker, a great opportunity to go for those highly mobile tank characters, the big assassin style flanker DPS, but you can also just run rush down mid and see how things work, and that very well may be what both teams are thinking about doing.
I mean, I don't mind if they're gonna run it down mid. We're using Reinhardt. I love that. I saw on Kings Row the other day. I saw both teams were running Reinhardt, May, Cassidy, Bap, Lucio, and I was over the moon. If we could see more of that, that'd be fantastic. I love that. Love that.
A fun composition to dissect, actually. The 30-minute conversation about the order of operations of the rush composition that I have with UB Varsity, it lives rent free in my head, as does the fond memories of the GOATS composition, off of which this rush brawl comp is very reminiscent. We won't be seeing any rush compositions here. Ferndale is running it out on a brawl composition with both of the supports on these kind of high impact support heroes, the Kiri and the Mercy. And Johnstown, a very similar approach, but with a Hog instead of a Ryan.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in here, starting things off, Cherry Bloom on the Roadhog has been something kind of like a menace so far throughout this short season, as it might not work out for them right now, as Widow 21 has found Game Genix. Now that's going to make it a lot harder, as Trojan 4 has gone down as well. well. Cherry Bloom still trying to make some space, trying to make some gains for Johnstown, but it's not looking like it's possible as Widow 21 continues to dominate the board.
Yeah, you know, I talked about the massive buff that was the 1 second reduction of the pin cooldown earlier. Don't need to go into it again, but we get the idea. Widow 21 is able to move wherever they want with that cooldown, and more importantly, pick anyone who gets who's unlucky enough to cross paths during that cooldown as well. For it, Widow 21 has the Earth Shatter, and more importantly, Johnstown doesn't have a shield, which means this is a free fight win if Ferndale plays their cards right.
This could be indeed, as they're going to come in here looking for that pick onto Widow 21, but it was Cherry Bloom almost going down, but River Galaxy has swapped over to the Pharah. The shatters come out, but River Galaxy still finding picks for Greater Johnstown. The res onto Gamegenics is there. There's another pick, 5 kills for River Galaxy.
Absolutely nutty. You called it earlier, Joker. You mentioned the Pharah earlier when we were talking about them as one of the players to watch, and man, keep watching, because this is not the end of the playmaking from River Galaxy, the Greater Johnstown Trojans. This has given Johnstown control of the objective. They still have a ways to go to catch up to Ferndale, but this is a remarkable lead that they have the chance to set. Losing Zeke there, though, is a little unfortunate.
It is indeed, but, well, River Galaxy is going to just make it up for him, finding 3 yet again, and this is where we see Far get a lot of value, because sometimes people don't really understand how to deal with this character that's in the sky.
She's a tough one to deal with. You know, for one, looking up and aiming up vertically is challenging in and of itself. But then you've got all kinds of aerial cover. You've got the counterplay. You've got the fact that she's got so much burst damage. All Farah needs is 2 direct hits to kill any squishy target, anyone who isn't a tank. So River Galaxy's playing the Pharah well. It's a tough matchup here for sure. Ferndale could go the double sniper, but I honestly like Gaming Bubble on the sim so that they can put Widow 21 in, well, really wherever Widow wants to go.
Yeah, as they're going to look to rotate, and the hook comes through from Cherry Bloom there as River Galaxy continues to just bombard the side of Ferndale. Widow 21 is going to find one with that charge, but they're not going to find much more as they're met with a whole hog from Cherry Bloom, forcing them back to spawn as Johnstown are up to 90% with 10 seconds to go.
That's right, so you need a touch here. Someone to be able to run out quickly and connect to the objective, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Zeke is there with the tire to make sure that Widow 21 isn't able to connect. There's no wrecking ball, no tracer to be seen, which means no one else to touch there. Not a bad round for Ferndale, though. They had a really good start. They had Johnstown kind of stymied with these highly aggressive Reinhardt plays. And so if Ferndale can use Oasis University and how good this map is for Reinhardt, then Ferndale evens up Oasis, which will be the first 3-point Oasis map we've gotten to see today. And that'll be pretty... that'll be a lot of fun. Got briefly distracted by River Galaxy, letting Ferndale know that don't worry, they're not going to play Pharah, and they're not lying. River Galaxy on the Ash here as Gaming Bumble goes to the Pharah. So you know who wins these matchups, or it's really down to who's playing their positions better, and there's only one way to find out who ends up doing that.
Yeah, they're going to come in here already. River Galaxy, not on the Pharah this time, but still on a pocketed hero. Working out well for Johnstown, finding 2 picks already as they're going to start things off with the point in their favor.
If they cap here, And there's Layla in the back lines as well, which is a lot of fun to watch. Is the flanking DPS Moros, but Layla does end up getting picked. And now we see a swap onto the Winston from Widow 21. This makes me very happy because I like the monkey. Did somebody say peanut butter? And so I want to see this work. But against the Roadhog, Junkrat, Ashe, you're looking at a very tough ask.
They really are, as there goes 2 picks from the Junkrat already, as Cherry Bloom gets in on the kill feed, as continuing Greater Johnstown this hold for the time being.
And actually, I've been mixing up Johnstown. By the way, Trojan 1 is Cooper, and Trojan 4 is Zeke. So that's going to be Zeke on the Mercy there. Yeah. Ooh, that's a nice direct hit there from from Cooper. Get they get the total mayhem kill on the Pharah as well, and the rest of the fight is just cleaned up.
You know, that might be the first time I've ever seen a Pharah die to total mayhem. That's something I'll put it in the books of things I've never seen.
Kind of like 3 Diva Bombs or 4 Diva Bombs all at once if you got both Echoes using Dupe. That's always a lot of fun too. Very chaotic though. That's the interesting thing about Overwatch too. Going from 6v6 to 5v5, game is still crazy chaotic. As you can see.
Speaking of chaotic, there goes Cooper yet again finding the kill onto Gaming Bumble. They are going to try to turn this around, though, as Widow 21 goes in, finds the pick with the charge, but they're still having to deal with the whole hog, and Layla Foxplay is already out of this fight. The barrage takes care of Cherry Bloom, but in the midst of all that, no one touches the point, as Greater Johnstown takes map number 1.
Yeah, man, Joker. So like I said, after map 1, Ferndale has an idea of how they want to go about this. They know that they want the big plays to be made by Widow 21 or Matic if they were in the lineup on that Rhine, and so Ferndale, they got the picks, they were ready to touch. You had Widow walking up with the barrier, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, shredded by the whole hog that was sitting in the back pocket of Cherry Bloom. It's interesting, lock hog in a solo queue ranked ladder game, and you're going to get flamed for it. But Cherry Bloom is making this character work. And, Joker, you and I have had plenty of conversations about the most powerful characters and how influential they are over the game. But this Greater Johnstown's gameplay is a great example of a player playing a character who really isn't as good as some of their contemporaries and still making them work, which is always a blast.
I forget who the Roadhog player was. I remember seeing these clips of some Roadhog player who only played those deathmatch game modes. And they finally played like competitive, and they were just dominating everyone on Roadhog because they would just hit these insane hook shots. And that's what I feel like we're seeing somewhat from oh my goodness, Cherry Bloom. Obviously not to that degree, because I don't think anyone just sits in death matches and plays Roadhog 24/7. And if you do, you might be a bad person. But it's really good to see. Some people hate Roadhog one tricks. Maybe I've said that I don't like Roadhog one tricks, but I like watching Cherry Bloom play.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You will still get to see Cherry Bloom play the Roadhog, but there are going to be a couple of swaps on the side of Ferndale. You've actually got role swaps across the board, so a little bit of a trend being set today. We're going to see a lot of depth from a lot of teams this afternoon. Gaming Bumble onto the tank role, Layla, Foxplay, and Widow onto the DPS role. Maybe we see some Widow Maker from Widow 21, and then Damon's is going to be moving on to the support role with I'm the Mad Lad. So Ferndale definitely looking to make Shambali Monastery a win for them, possibly swapping or making substitutions based on heroes in the comfort pools of these players who counter some of the heroes that Greater Johnstown is running, i.e. the Roadhog. You want to get rid of a Roadhog? Run an Ana, play the Orisa, play someone who can burst them down, and so that's likely what Ferndale is responding to here, and that's really encouraging. Doesn't mean that we might see less Roadhog because Cherry Bloom is forced to swap. Yes, perhaps, but means Ferndale gets a shot at bringing the series back.
Yeah, and I'm excited. Maybe seeing some Sigma coming out as well is Escort, and we know as Sigma thrives on Escort. It isn't a Circuit Royal, but it's still an Escort
pretty
map.
Close.
I mean, do you have to play one composition? I don't think you need to play one composition on
That's
Shambali.
true. You can only play one comp on Circuit.
Yeah, that's why no one likes Circuit above above Masters.
Yeah, I see that. I see that you've seen Samito's tweet. A very entertaining guy. He definitely has some things to say about the game. I'll tell you what I have to say.
I'm actually meeting him next week.
Oh, that's awesome, actually. He's a good guy. I'll tell you what I have to say about this match, Joker. I'm ready to see the full map of Shambali Monastery, and there's a chance that I might, because River Galaxy has opened up this first fight.
Yeah, and River Galaxy being on Greater Johnstown, that might actually work out because they are on the attack. So things are looking good. I did knock on my wooden table behind me, so hopefully we actually get to see this full map and we don't cast a curse to everything like we do every single time we talk here. It's getting really bad, Ethan, that we continue to curse these teams as they're still it's looking good right now. It's looking good for Greater Johnstown. We might get to second point here.
I would really like to see second point. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of things I'd like to say about this map, but we do have to get to the second objective there first. Cherry Bloom and River Galaxy, as well as Zeke on the Mercy, are making massive waves of impact, and they have given Game Genesis just kind of existing on Lucio and getting passive value for it. A mirror onto the Hog comes out from Gaming Bumble, but you're not going to see a contest of this first objective. Johnstown is able to take.
We've done it. Woo, yeah, woo.
We made it to second point.
We made it to second point. Let's go, dude. As they're going to come in here, as Gaming Bumble is on this Roadhog looking for a value, but one Roadhog to rule them all. Cherry Bloom continuing to just dominate on this hero. Layla Foxplay is over to the Bastion as well to try to deal with Cherry Bloom on this Hog, but it's not looking like it's working out because, well, there's Cooper following it up with a secondary fire, taking them out as they're already almost through second point.
It's the real conundrum of Overwatch. For every threat you dispatch, there are two more to take its place. Every hero swap that you can make to counter one on the enemy team, and there's going to be other heroes who are good against you, and that's kind of the matchup that we're getting to see between Widow 21 and the Bastion, able to put out a ton of damage, and then there's Cooper absolutely popping off a Sojourn, has the overclock here as well as a Mercy tether. Cooper's absolutely fragging right here. 2 picks onto the DPS, forcing Gaming Bumble back. I'm the Mad Lad is critical as well. That's a nice shot from Layla, though.
Yeah, Layla finding the sight lines that they need to take out River Galaxy is huge, and then Enade coming in from Damon as well. They didn't have the follow-up, the people there to get that picks, but that's going to be good going forward, knowing that's available as Layla takes out Cooper amidst their ultimate, but during all of that, Johnstown got point number 2, and there's 5 minutes to go, and things are getting a little closer now to Layla Foxplay, who's still on this Widowmaker, trying to keep them up as Gaming Bumble uses this uses the whole Hog with the nano boost, finding 4 picks in the fight. Can they find the 5th? They're in the back line, but are they gonna get the 5th pick? Who's it gonna be? Are they gonna get the ace? Are they gonna get them? Yes, they are the ace of Gaming Bumble.
You said earlier one hog to rule them all, and I think that there might be some contention for the throne of the king here as Cherry Bloom and Gaming Bomb find themselves locked in an arduous 1v1, both with Mercies behind them. Who wins this matchup? It is going to be Cherry Bloom, but Game Genesis walking with the final blow, losing their life in the process to Layla Foxplay, who has been killing it on the Widow, by the way.
Can I continue with my Lord of the Rings references? The hog under the mountain, from Gaming Bumble versus the one hog to rule them all. They're gonna come in here, and it's looking like it's all but over. No one's gonna be able to touch.
348 is quite the time, Joker.
Yeah.
Quite the luxury to have on your attack round. If you are Johnstown or a Johnstown fan, you are feeling pretty comfortable, knowing that if by some act of providence for Ferndale, you fumble the defense in a tremendous way, you've still got basically as much time as you started with in the previous attacking round. Now, if all 3 points get captured with a certain amount of time in the bank remaining, those time banks are both reduced. But for Johnstown, that's kind of the least of their concerns. Right now, they're just saying, this is so very winnable, we can hold this, and then just end it all here. And that's the plan for Johnstown here. It's this composition. It's brawly. It's able to poke. It's tons of burst damage. It's a little bit of CC as well, and some really high impact ultimates. Ferndale, they've got some great responses. Gaming Bumble on the Diva is a great call, although I really liked the Hog Mirror, and I also like the Ana. I mentioned it earlier before jumping into this map, is you need someone to deal with the Hog, pick up an Ana. Throw that Bionade, he will not be able to heal, and he will be much more killable than he normally is. So this is a good start here for Ferndale. They just got to make the most of their composition. Already off to a good start. Nice eat on the damage-reduced Dynamite there. And a dive onto Zeke.
I was just thinking about more Lord of the Rings references, and I was thinking of changing every word of the opening to Lord of the Rings to match Overwatch, but I couldn't think of it quick enough. But hey, right now we're seeing Johnstown do wondrous things yet again. River Galaxy might have taken a little bit of a back seat on that first round. Not going to take that back seat any longer. Finding 3 already for Greater Johnstown.
Now you've got me trying to make Lord of the Rings references, Joker, and that's a lost cause. Silmarillion is the only book I've stopped reading because it was simply too difficult. But things are challenging here. If you're Cherry Bloom on the Roadhog walking into an assault configuration, Widow 21 ends up going down, and the rest of the pressure from Johnstown is all here. What you're going to end up seeing, if you could see the stats, Joker, is team-wide participation. Every single member of Johnstown is participating in every single elimination. You can see it reflected in the assist feed, right? Cooper's able to walk away with a pick. Game Genesis and Zeke both get a little bit of credit there. And so this is a really good hold that Johnstown is mustering. They're rewarded for it too, with ultimates.
They are indeed, as Trojan 1 Cooper is going to start things off as well. River Galaxy using their Bob early on. It's going to be slapped up and swiftly dealt with. No, not swiftly dealt with. Eventually dealt with by the tide of the timer of Bob. But no picks coming through from it. But hey, speaking of picks, Johnstown finds all of them they need as a Sleep Dart comes through onto Cherry Blue, but not going to really matter in the end.
Yeah, they were both Ana cooldowns kind of tossed out there, and no follow-up on it, unfortunately, for Ferndale. I'll tell you one good thing that came out of it, though, is Damon almost has this nano boost, and that's going to be extremely impactful. You apply that to Layla while they're in assault config, or throw it onto Gaming Bumble while they're trying to dive Cooper. That's a very meaningful ultimate. First, you just got to back up, regroup, and live the next kind of half fight here that Johnstown wants to take. Or cast the self-destruct.
That could work out well. It is. There was no place to hide for the rest of Greater Johnstown. And they're going to be able to find out Trojan 1 Cooper as well. Now they're going to be able to come through out of spawn. Maybe not. Cherry Bloom still alive, finding picks. Gaming Bumble gone, and the respawns might be coming back soon here. They've got to dive on to River Galaxy because that dynamite's going to just do so much work as Damon's is back to spawn and the respawn's coming back from Johnstown. How are they able to hold on to this, Lordthethan? This is pandemonium on point as Johnstown continues to hold on. 40 seconds to go.
I mean, you had the Bobcast, the whole hog there as well. It basically chalks down to Cherry Bloom being able to demand as much space as they are at long last with the assist of the Nano Boost, as I called it, actually. Cherry Bloom is eliminated by Layla Foxplay. This is a great opening for Ferndale to catch up on some missed time.
Oh my goodness, I just lost it. That was so much damage coming out from Layla Foxplay there. They just got blown up after they took out Cherry Bloom. But now things are looking good as Gaming Bumble finds two. But unfortunately, it's overtime. They cannot lose a single fight now.
No, not until they capture the second objective. And honestly, even after that, you've lost quite a bit of time in your bank if you're Ferndale. And so even after you capture second point, you're really looking to not lose fights after that so that you can get as much time as you have, or as you can. There's the Shatter, though, and Gaming Bumble's able to get a pick off of it, too. This is very doable for Ferndale.
There really is, as they're going to come in here, as they're continuing to find picks for Ferndale, as Trojan 1 Cooper does find a pick, but again, it's not going to be enough. It's just River Galaxy left on point, and there's only so much an Ash can do as the Bob was not built up in time, as Ferndale have a new lease on life.
Let's go, and 2.5 minutes in the bank as well. You know, don't get me wrong. No caster, no bias here on my side of the booth for Ferndale or Greater Johnstown. Although you know, I do think that Greater Johnstown could learn a thing or two about prudence with their ultimates from one of the Division 2 teams. Don't you think, Joker? In any case, it's just good to see more of this map in another fight breaking out.
Yeah, as they're gonna come in here now with the Photon Barrier out from Widow 21, but Gaming Bumble is going to be the one to go down early on in this fight, as that's now so much damage coming out from Layla Foxplay, but they only find one onto Zeke. You gotta feel bad for Zeke, the squishiest character, and they're gonna be dealt with that just massive amounts of damage.
I always feel a little bit bad for Zeke, man. Support players aren't appreciated enough, but they also are appreciated much more than they should be. In any case, we appreciate all of our support players here in the TEC High School Series, but especially, rather, when they're popping off like Game Genesis.
Yeah, as they're going to come in here. That nice artillery strike came in from Layla Foxplay, but they're not able to capitalize enough on to the remaining characters. Hey, maybe not. The sound barrier going to be used here to try to keep them up. Game Genix trying to take away Layla Foxplay as they're down to 45 seconds here. It's all up to Game Genix to keep that healing up. And there's the whole hog coming out, finding Layla Foxplay as they're going to force them back. And I think they're going to be able to get, oh, maybe not. The pin from Narnia coming in here. As Cherry Bloom's trying to stay alive, they're going to get the respawns back, but they're going to go down in the end from a nice anti-nade from Damon's, as everyone's all around still alive, but it's looking good for Ferndale, but maybe not. River Galaxy finds that pick coming in now, but No. River Galaxy still just going to continue to find picks here
Yeah.
for Greater Johnstown. You can't count them out of the fight until River Galaxy's fallen down. As Bob is going to be used, the pin coming in, going to miss out on to Cooper there. As River Galaxy is literally out of 1 HP. Oh my goodness, Cherry Bloom getting it anti-nated and focused down immediately. Still going to stay alive. The Shatter comes out. They still need more, does Ferndale, and it seems like they are getting the things they need here, as all these picks are going to go all up blue, and they're able to continue pushing this cart.
Yeah, Ferndale's absolutely killing it right now. An overtime push onto second point through one of the more challenging parts of this map, because it is just one straight high ground push through which you only have 2 entrances. Nice stagger pick there onto Cooper as well. I'm really liking the patience from Gaming Bumble. Gaming Bumble knows when they have to play the objective and when they have to go aggro, and right now it's just protect the team. Oh, now it's go aggro.
Yeah, now it's go aggro indeed, but River Galaxy is swapped over to the Fora and the respawn. Oh my goodness,
Ajax.
that was huge.
So
They
close.
did not. That was massive, and now River Galaxy just has all the time and space because that beat was able to land, as Johnstown hold on and take the map and take the series in a 2-0 fashion.
It's always a treat to watch Johnstown play, especially when they're matched up against a team like Ferndale. I was really impressed with the level of resistance that Ferndale put up today. All teams can have the same propensity to have a bad start to a map, and Ferndale really bounced back. There were some last-minute clutch swaps that came from River Galaxy onto the Pharmacy, their signature move, ace up their sleeve. But ultimately, I have to contend that Ferndale played their cards really well for the second half of Shambali Monastery, and their performance is nothing to scoff at. But neither is Greater Johnstown, walking away with another win in the TEC High School Series, and fortifying themselves as one of the opponents, one of the teams to beat.
Yeah, they are top. They're all tied for number 1 at the moment. Winburg, Hollidaysburg, and Greater Johnstown with the Division 1 West Branch squad quickly on their heels. They probably would have joined them at 3-0 if they did not have to reschedule their match for this evening. But we're not done yet here, Lordthethan. We've still got one more series to end things off here. We've got Shade versus Everett right after this break. Do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss the conclusion of the TEC High School Series Overwatch.
Well, for the last time, Microsoft.
Welcome back, everyone. I think we're sorting out a couple of technical difficulties. We'll be able to hear Joker here in just a couple of minutes. Is he back?
I don't. Maybe. Perfect.
He's back. Welcome back,
perfect.
Joker.
I was going to say we are back for the last time of the evening, but then mic issues happened, unfortunately. But we are here for our matchup between Shade and Everett. This is the first time we've seen Shade in a couple of weeks here. I think that we saw them week 1 and haven't seen them since.
Yeah, either week 1 or week 2. It was a little while ago because I remember seeing them. I remember a couple of these names, but it has been a minute. This is the first time that we'll be able to get to watch Shade and Everett go head to head as well. So you're looking at the what is that? The number 5 and the number 8 seed, respectively. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. We're possibly looking at another situation today where we see either Shade or Everett just do really well, take the series in 2 maps. But I also do think that this series has the potential to go all the way to that mythical push map. First, we have to get through the first maps, and before we do that, I just want to mention a couple of players to be on the lookout for. NotEQO had a really great demonstration of DPS prowess in the week that they were able to play. And on the side of Everett, I'm sorry, that's NotEQO of Shade. On the side of Everett, keep an eye out for Zelds and Blaze Donut. Both of them tend to be the playmakers. You've got Zelds kind of taking the glory and the kill feed, but often it's Blaze Donut kind of in the back lines pulling the strings. So definitely a couple of names to be on the lookout for as we prepare to head into map 1.
Yeah, and map 1 going to be Oasis like it has been every other series of the afternoon into evening now. As, I mean, hey, where are we going to start out is the real question. Because that's, we know we're going to Oasis. We know that. Where are we gonna go on to Oasis is the real question here, because I mean, it's random. It's a 3. It's a chance of 3, and we don't obviously know until we see it.
Yeah, we just don't know or won't know where we're landing, as the kids are saying these days, or is it where we drop?
I think it's where we're dropping.
I don't watch the Fortress Day Fortnite things. Yeah. In any case, it is random between these 3 sub maps, but part of the reason this question is really important to ask it, where are we dropping, is because it'll kind of help us to decide what compositions we want to run out on. Are we dropping into Oasis University? Let's run the rush. Let's int it down mid, right? Are we going to City Center? Can we play a dive composition there? Is there a backline to exploit? Are there angles to play? And then of course Gardens, where like I said, you're really actually free. You can play the dive, you can play the rush. Historically, it's been a good map for a variety of compositional identities. So it looks like the game, Aaron Keller and all of his benevolence has chosen for us to start on Oasis University. And this is a really good map here for the Everett Warriors. I'll tell you why, is because they are on that Reinhardt-based rush composition. For Shade Central, they've got a leg up in terms of sustain, right? The Mercy Moira as opposed to the Mercy Lucio, which is on Everett. But Icy on the ROM is an interesting matchup against Outboxed on the Rhine. That pummel, those punches can can break through Outfox's barriers. But the fact is that it's still a tough matchup for Ramatra to take. That's a nice pick to secure, though.
It really is. That healing, that extra damage boost now gone as Spots. Another person that I would like to remind you of as, hey, they're going to be, they're coming out strong saying, hey, don't forget about me here, Lordthethan. I click heads with this Hanzo pick as they're coming in here. They're going to get trapped up, but they're going to stay alive. They're going to try to come in back from the depths of spawn, from Outfox trying to get into this. They're getting the positioning as well. They're forcing back Shade Central, and it's working out well. They find 2 picks, but the res comes through, not EQO off the side of the map, and Everett are able to get this point into their favor without losing much of a percentage to Shade Central.
Yeah, that was a really nice fight back onto the objective. Look, Outfox has a shatter here as well, and I really don't think Icy is going to be tracking it, mainly because I wouldn't if I were the ROM player in this situation. So this is a great opportunity to see this Rhino deployed.
Yeah, as Outfox is going to start things off yet again, and a nice boop going through. Yeah, Roman Noodles off the side of the map as Everett come through strong yet again.
And look at the decisiveness from Outfox as well. You know, when they want to go in, they're going in. When they want to get out, they're getting out. And that's something to really respect about our tank players. The Photon Barrier, I think, is going to end up getting it deployed here. Joker, I'm not sure what tells me. Perhaps a 6th sense, if you will. But, oh, yeah, look at that. I was right. There it is.
A lot of ultimates on the board, but the Annihilation is the one doing all the work for Shade Central here, finding 2 picks. The res is going to be there to get Outfox back as the Shadow comes through onto not EQO, as they're still trying to win this fight as Shade Central with the pummel taking Outfox down. They're able to get this point into their favor now and get this point accruing in their favor.
But see, Ever is going to be able to recontest really quickly. They've got the Rhine, the Lucio, the Sim, all with mobility and speed to get back out. And Zelds has this Riptire. Well, will have the Riptire when they come back from spawn. This actually might be a fight worth losing here for Shade. I'm sorry, for Everett.
Yeah, Spots is gonna come alive now on the Hanzo as they're gonna come through. Backing out is Outfoxed so low. Are they gonna go down? They do. Roman Noodles takes them out with the orb as Shade Central are getting close to overtaking Everett.
Yeah, you've got the dragons from Spots as well. That'll help to buy even more time on the objective should the fight go south, or maybe even start things out. Make secured off of it, though.
And speaking of picks, Blaze Donut finds a Super Alpha. Or you Super Alpha, but it's not going to, it is going to matter in the end. They do get take the lead in capture percentage, but not for a very long, as Icy is so low trying to get out, not going to be able to, as you Super Alpha is alone. They're going to get the res onto Icy as well, though. So this next spot is going to be huge as the Annihilation's coming through. They're going to be trapped up, but there's a lot of damage already coming on. Icy still trying to find a pick with this Annihilation, but they're able to make a lot of space for Shade Central, getting them back to this point, but the Shatter is going to come through, going to help wrap up this fight in the side of Everett with a Sound Barrier and the Artillery Strike coming in celebration.
Yeah, yeah, you had all of it. Any ults that weren't used, they get used right there, because you're not going to have another chance. No Overwatch 3 on the horizon to save it for. That was a good map for both teams. Honestly, I think that both of these teams have owned these compositions, to be honest. Icy's commitment to the Ramatra and Shade being able to play around that, and then of course Everett able to make the most out of this highly, not necessarily highly mobile, but highly aggressive rush composition. I mean, it is mobile, just not vertically. It's just running straight at you. pell-mell. Again, this is going to be a really interesting matchup because Everett is playing really good right now, but Shade is not too far behind with their strategies. So if they're going to win any map, City Center is the place to do that and to bring us to a third Oasis submap.
I don't want to jinx us yet, but this feels like the best chance we have to go to a third map. Again, I have my wooden table back there. Gonna knock on that to try to so we don't jinx ourselves yet here, as both of these two teams are still vying for the position, but Spots continues to find picks here. The res is going to be burned by Yuyo to try to keep their team in this fight for the time being, but that Ravenous Vortex is going to slow them down, but Usurper Alpha is going to be caught up on the Reinhardt and go down, but it's still anyone's point, and that's a huge dynamite, though. That's going to wrap things up for Shade Central.
Oh, Spots is killing it on this high ground position as the Ash. I mean, it's the place that you want to be. It's the place where you're going to have the easiest shots. But look, the point is just now being captured. And I think that this round has gone on for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes already at this point. That is some attrition that we're getting to see between both these teams. And it's going to get even more atrocious with these ultimates like the Annihilate and the Shatter and the Sound Barrier from Everett.
Yeah, as they're going to come in here, they're going to try to keep them alive, but Blaze Donut is gone. The res is going to be burned as not EQO goes down in the midst of all of that as the Annihilation gets through, but it only finds one as Outfoxed without any the help of their own ultimate, of their Shatter, finds two in response, but it's still not looking to be enough. Shade Central still have this upper hand at the moment. The respawn's coming through and the Ravenous Vortex slowing things down. They're continuing to hold on to this point with a nice secondary fire shot on the Outfox. They're definitely solidifying that.
Roman is able to contribute in their own way as well with a little bit of kill stealing with the biotic orb, as Moira players do. I say as a Moira player myself. Coalescence gets used here as well. It might be a little bit earlier, but there are some kills to chase here and eliminate, especially since Blaze Donut has now built the tactical visor. Oh my lord. I mean, every time we start watching Spots, I'm just going to get really jealous. The talent, bro. The talent.
Yeah, I wish I could actually use it in mouse and keyboard. But I'm not. I can't do that. I'm council boy. I'm council boy. But they're gonna come in here. Zeld's looking for spots here. The overclock coming in from not EQO as well, but they're not gonna find anything. Only the tactical visor of Blaze Donut as the Annihilation now being popped. They're gonna try to kite away from it as quickly as possible, and they do. They don't get any value from that ultimate. As now outfoxed over to their own Ramatra, trying to match wit for wit, blow for blow, and it seems to be the case. They're able to. The Bob comes out from Spots for try to have a miraculous turn, but that's not going to be the case as the point is flipped in Everett's favor.
There's some ults expended in that fight as well. An interesting ult that's going to be coming up, or an ult that I'm paying close attention to, is Outfoxed Annihilation. There's no nano to tether onto it. There's no barrier to sustain it, but you do have Usurper on the Mercy, and that's a really great way to make sure that the Annihilate gets value. Just got to clear these off angles like the one Spots is working.
Yeah, as the pummel and the Annihilation comes out, Outfox finding Usurper Alpha, finding another one, not EQO goes down. The Annihilation does fall afterwards, but finding 2 picks is huge for Everett for the time being, forcing back Shade Central and trying to tie things up or overtake them. Well, that's the only way they can win this. They have to overtake Shade Central. As the Coalescence from Roman is there, the Annihilation coming out as well from Icy. It's a lot of damage coming out, but they're not able to stay alive as Outfoxed weathers the storm, takes Usurper Alpha down, and the artillery artillery strike comes out from Zelds, continuing to force Shade back. It's up to 70% now for Everett.
Everett has the sound barrier on top of that. That has to be used in response to Spot's Bob, because Spot's going to follow up on that on the damage from that ultimate as well.
Now that is huge. Icy getting the pick onto Blaze Donut and burning the res of Yuyo, but they're going to have to do more. The Bob's going to come out, but they're going to stay alive thanks to that beat. And now Outfox's Annihilation's going to find 3, and that is going to be it here. Icy's the only one to go. Outfox finds 5 as Everett takes map number 1.
That was really close between both of these teams for one. So any doubters that it was not going to be a competitive match, we can all relax and know that we're going to get to watch maybe a little bit more Overwatch. There were some pretty insane details that I observed that I actually kind of want to break down. One of them was Outfoxed mirroring the Ramatra, and then it was in one of those ladder fights. It had the opportunity to walk onto Icy's Ramatra. Instead realizes that there are squishies in the choke point that they can focus down instead. They turn immediately, immediate decision. I would have continued to feed on the tank, but that wasn't the right call. The right call was moving on those squishies. So again, just more evidence to the pile that these players are very thoughtful about what they do. And then another moment was that sound barrier from Voltage. I mean, Voltage should have been thrown meters up into the sky, being cast up by Bob and then picked off by Ash, not even had the chance to sound barrier. My Lucio OTP self watched that situation and was like, oh yeah, no, Voltage dies here for sure, and doesn't get to cast the beat. Voltage casts the beat, and that was absolutely game-changing. Buys Outfox enough time to find a position to annihilate from, and the rest of Everett is able to clean up the fight after that. But here's the thing, Everett is having to respond to the way that Shade is playing. So there are advantages really on both sides here that can be capitalized on. I'm really excited to go into Shambali Monastery. I really can't wait, because that's a good map for Ramatra, and I want to see more of these teams play them.
Yeah, if you go back to their week 1, I did say I really love Outfox's Ramatra, and they're showing why week after week why they're such a good Ramatra player, and especially with the pocket that they receive from Yuyo when they're on this hero, they get so much more value because of it. It's really showing up for Everett for the time being, as they're going to try to mirror this Ramatra yet again.
I like it. Ramatra's a good pick for this map. You got the long sight lines, the close corridors. For Shade, they're amping up the damage just by a little bit, which is interesting to me. I think it was not EQO playing the Sojourn there earlier, and I think that Sojourn would still actually be really suitable here, especially with Usurper on the Mercy. It's a good combo, but the Bastion is popular. He's accessible. Honestly, mechanical skill, it's just as required as on Sojourn, but definitely some extra insurance in the form. For Everett, it's just a typical double hit scan, which is absolutely the way to go. I'm curious about the Kiriko here from Voltage, but I'm eager to see it work.
Yeah, me too. That extra speed can do wonders when a Ramatra is in their pummel form, but the problem could be the healing that they're going to have to deal with, is because Spots is going to have so much extra damage with that Symmetra charging up, as they're continuing to find picks. Is Shade Central for the time being. Outfox is still there, but there's no one to back them up. Just as I say that, though, Zeld finds a pick on the Spots, and now they can come back. The respawns have come back from spawn, but there's still so much damage coming out from Shade, but not EQO falling down now, as they're continuing this slow and steady pace, but the Annihilation already built up from Icy. Gonna take down Yuyo, take down Zeld, and try to take down Outfox as well. before they can find anything more, but they have these ultimates available themselves now here, Lordthethan, as the photon barrier is going to be popped. Outfox finds one, but is it going to be enough? The Kitsune Rush also being used here by Voltage to try to win them this fight, but I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to be forced back, and Icy finds all of the picks they need with the pummel in the end, and Shade Central are going to be able to hold on.
Really nice hold from Shade. Icy being able to build the Annihilate first was actually really meaningful, regardless of how big or small those Annihilates were. Outfox now on the Junker Queen, which is really good, and that was a really good knife there onto, I think it was not EQL.
Yeah, as Outfox comes in here with the Junker Queens already starting off well, and the Blizzard's going to be there as well. The Coalescence only there for a little bit longer, and that's not going to be enough to keep everyone up and healthy, as Everett are able to continue pushing forward, but Shade should have a second opportunity if they don't lose anyone here.
Yeah. As long as you're not suffering any early picks, then you've got a pretty reasonable hold. Spots dying is unfortunate, but there are actually ways that Shade can compensate for that, namely the Annihilate that Icy has.
Yeah, and they're going to definitely pop it soon, and then just as I say it, it happens to be as the Annihilation's coming through, and it's forcing down a lot of people, but Outfox is still alive and finding picks of their own, but Spots has come back, and Zeld's Riptire is swiftly dealt with by Icy, as the respawns are going to be able to come back, as Icy's still doing work on this Ramatra, with some help from Spots.
0.21 meters, and Spots has a Riptire, and Roman will be coming up on the Coalescence soon enough. Meanwhile, Everett has a handful of cards that they can play here, but being down Yui is a little disadvantageous. This is where, if I'm Everett, I'm actually backing up to wait a little bit longer. Yeah. I definitely am at this point.
Yeah, you can't force this out, but it's down to 10 seconds here. And there's really I don't think there's any chance that Everett are going to be able to even touch this point. The res is there, but Yuyo's down. No one's going to be able to get there in the end, as Shade holds on to point number 1.
And they were going to build the rest of the ults that they needed to secure that first objective in that last fight. You know, they had the Riptire, they were coming up on the Coalescence, but everything else was being pretty rapidly built. Everett getting stuck there is definitely unsurprising insofar as the series is competitive. It makes sense that Shade should be able to identify Everett's win condition and shut it down, or identify Shade's own lose condition and prevent it from happening. But Everett definitely struggling to get around that first corner for so long is that's where all the time had bled away from, and that's really where this map became a lot more difficult for them. It's not undoable, though. This is the furthest on first point that the cart has pushed today. That is, if you don't count the other objectives we've gotten to watch. So for Everett, all they have to do is muster a full hold on this first point, which is never a complicated endeavor on any of the escort maps. I've said that for years. I'll continue saying it, even though the game is rapidly changing, and my takes are aging quite poorly with it. Shade running the Widow here. I like the Mercy. I like the Bastion. I like Zeld's on the Junkrat. Voltage, I'm going to trust anything they pick. Joker, enough ruminating from me. Let's just see how the game plays out.
Well, that's going to start things off well for Shade Central. Spots on the Widowmaker coming through, and they're going to be able to find 2 picks, but hey, maybe you're not enough here for them to continue this push, as they're going to be able to regroup under the light of the lamp of voltage, as they're going to still stay alive for the time being, but the pummel coming out from Icy trying to take down Yuyo, and they do get the Mercy, both Mercies, funnily enough, going down to the pummels of the opposing Ramatras, as Shade Central are going to continue to push forward here off the back of some nice shots from Spots.
Yeah, that is a team kill. Well, I mean, not quite a team kill, but that's basically a team kill there for Everett, and gives them pretty much this corner for free. And there's still a chance. I'm sorry, for Shade, and gives Shade this corner for free, which is really important because they'll have the Annihilate into this fight. Icy already has it, which is crazy. Zeld's gone. There's a trade established, but right now, Shade is in a good spot.
They really are. They've got 2 minutes and 36 seconds to win. Maybe one, maybe 2 fights here. Unless, obviously, if the cart continues to move back, then that could increase. But the Atelier Strikes is going to come out from Blaze Donut. Not going to find any picks, but they do, again, make space, which is almost all definitely the name of the game of Overwatch. But speaking of creating space, that massive amounts of damage is gone, and now the Annihilation coming out from Icy here is going to open things up even more for Shade Central. But that's only 1 pick coming out from the ultimate of Ramatra, and losing Roman Noodles there could be the difference maker. It's not, but it still had them be able to burn that res, and not going to be able to have it for the longer fight, as they're still trying, is Shade Central, to get this point, and they're getting their respawns back, but they need to take care of them quickly if they want to win it out now. As the Coalescence comes out, the Annihilation from Outfox is there as well. They're so low, they're not going to really find the value that they would have hoped to, as everything's looking good for Shade Central. There's only 2 people remaining, and it's just a Lucio. Nothing that can really find the big value that you're hoping for right now, is the res interrupted. Someone trying to get there to touch, but to no avail, as Shade Central tie up the series 1-1.
Wow, what a war that one was. A mouthful for you to cast as well.
Yeah.
Sure, Joker. So take a load off. Really well played from Shade. Bouncing back from Oasis, which I absolutely understand. You know, not my game mode, so I never expect it to be anyone else's. You got that team deathmatch style of gameplay. Really, I think that Shambali Monastery was the game for Shade to bounce back in this series on, and I think that they knew that as well. Why else would their confidence be manifest so evidently for us? We're heading into the 3rd map, and this is where really confidence starts to diminish a little bit. We have made it to map 3. We will head to the push game mode. We will play at least, or no, at most 10 minutes of the mode, and see who can push the objective all the way to their opponent's side of the map. It's an interesting game mode. It's actually very mathematical as far as the distance that the bot moves, the speed it travels. You've got something that we call the butt scratch, which sounds corny, but is actually a very real comm that we make in our games. We got the butt scratcher. Oh, they got the butt scratch. And there's that, the objective animations to factor in. So there's a lot of details with this map that I can't possibly, in good faith, bore us with, Joker. I will say this: the outcome of push, in a lot of cases, enough to make this an expression worth remarking on, is that the outcome of push is determined in the first 3 to 5 minutes of the map.
That's what I was gonna say. Then you go. I have my
beat you
whole
to it.
spiel about talking with moving fish from Redbirds about it, and
Yep.
but yeah, it's all determined in that first 5 minutes, unless it's all that back and forth. But with New Queen Street, it's not really that back and forth that we see on maybe like a Coliseum.
Yeah, no, on New Queen Street, it's like long stretches. Is what I'm used to. And not like the long stretches like you bounce back all out of nowhere on Esperanza and then push from the middle to the very end. I'm talking about, a team can cap a checkpoint before their opposition even begins to be able to move the bot. So we'll see how this plays out. Push is not an easy game mode for even the casual player to navigate. So I'm very interested to see how it's facilitated by these high school teams. Oh, watch out for the Bastion!
The Bastion in the back line. Oh no! Nobody expects the backline Bastion as they're gonna come in here already, finding a pick onto Usurper Alpha. As they are gonna find that pick, but in the end, Zelds goes down, and that sneaky little play coming in from Zelds doesn't pay out. Shade Central are the ones to come out on top in this first fight.
They're up top in a big way as well. Look at this ultimate generation. At least half of them are already 50% to their ultimate abilities. They're getting some good push progress done as well. I'll tell you, if Shade hits this first corner, they're actually putting themselves for a really good next fight. Oh no, is this the feed? No, Blaze-Stone gets out alive, right?
Nope.
No, please.
No, they do not. The skill orb strikes again as the skill orb strikes back, perhaps. But they're gonna come in here as not EQO, sorry, is gonna be the one to go down. Well, she's followed suitly afterwards by the person who I thought it was. Zeld's going down as they are gonna yet again Shade Central are gonna win this fight out, and they're doing it very decisively. This is almost too decisively for a push map, I feel like.
It's deceptively decisive. Again, these push maps, they play out quite is wonkily an adverb that I can use here? I'll do it anyways, or an adjective, I'm sorry. Odds are is that Everett actually does get some swing here. It starts with dropping Roman.
Yeah, the butt scratch mode, like we were talking about there, gives Everett that time to get back to this point. The res comes in onto Zelds here, as then that's a nice Terra Surge coming out from Outfox there. And Ultimate, we don't normally see get that huge value. Icy tried to turn it around, but is met with a Riptire from Blaze-Stone as Everett are able to get this point into their favor.
Losing Yui there is unfortunate. This is where Everett is kind of in a dangerous position. You've only got voltage on the Zen healing, and that's not a lot of support. So if you're looking to take a fight, a war of attrition, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. But I like what Everett is doing here. They're just getting progress on the objective, and making sure that they're ready to back out when they need. And look, Yui is back now, and voltage has Transcendence.
Yeah, but they caught him out before they needed to, but and not Yukio going down is huge. Not finding that pick on the Outfox like they were hoping for as the Annihilation comes through, and I didn't know you could be above the Annihilation. That's cool. Icy finds one with, and they'll make it two with that Annihilation, looking for some picks. Still finding them out as Icy is able to flip the fight on its head, and Shade Central are able to get the bot back in their favor.
This puts Everett back on the defense, and this is convenient, particularly because Shade has an offensive ult. They're still working on the Bob, but Coalescence is coming online, and Everett has the defensive ultimates, as well as Zelds with this barrage. Solo barrage onto spots, always worth it. Good stuff, Zelds. Now we win the rest of the fight for Everett.
Yeah, and they're able to do so. They get the res onto Voltage. Spots is going to get rezzed up in the end. Zelda's super low. They're going to go down now. The Coalescence, the Transcendence are on the board, trying to keep them up and healthy, but it still is looking good. Maybe not enough for the side of Shade, but maybe it is. After finding Yu-Yo out of that fight with a pummel, the Bob not going to get the value you're hoping for, but it's still, in the end, gonna make them space because it took Outfoxed out of position. The Riptire comes in looking to change the tide. They find not EQO, and they're gonna have an opening now to come in, but I mean, when I speak things, they go in the other way. And this is just the unfortunateness of having the caster curse. It just bodes poorly for the team I'm talking about, because now Outfox is going to come back from spawn, find 2 thanks to the Shatter, as they're able to get the bot into their favor, but I don't think they're going to be able to get too far here.
Definitely the forward spawn that Shade has is a huge advantage. That might be something that Outfox is looking to mitigate here, getting a stagger pick onto spots perhaps, or at least taking an aggro position. Nice pick. Follow-up from Voltage is absolutely huge there. And now you just have to wait out a little bit and kind of play for the ult phase.
Well, the Annihilation's going to start things off here. Roman Noodles getting in with the skill orb as Blaze Donut goes down. The res onto not EQO to get them back into the fight as Outfoxed is alone, but with the support of Zelds on the Pharah, they're able to force back not EQO for the time being and continue to push this bot forward.
Well, one of my favorite calls, though, that I've ever heard from a player in the push game mode is, don't be discouraged, it's push. We still have, 4 minutes, we still have 5 minutes, we still have 2 minutes, right? Any amount of time is as much time as you need here on push to get that lead, and that's what Everett is on a course for. Outfox here with another Shatter. See what he can do with it.
Yeah, as they're going to come in here. They're trying to get their own butt scratch here. As the Shatter comes out, connects to 2. Not EQO with their own artillery strike. Finds Blaze Donut. But it's not enough to turn this fight back towards Shade Central. As Everett now have this forward spawn available, which is huge. They're going to be able to get that second fight before Shade can really overtake them again, as now they're going to have to use this TAC visor to come in. Blaze Donut's going to find 1, but Icy's already found 2 of their own, but there's still not enough people left on the point. They're going to try to get back. Not EQO finds out Blaze Donut. It's just Outfox left in there. They're going to run for the fences.
Yeah, that's absolutely a call. Everett got a lot of progress. They got the forward spawn. If Outfox can just live, get back to their supports, and then re-push just like Everett is doing, then again, Everett's setting themselves up for success here.
Yeah, they are indeed, as Icy is looking to get the pick on Outfox, but they're down as Outfox finds the Shatter, finding 3, and now they're gonna overtake them here. It was looking all good for Shade, but now Everett have the upper hand with 2 minutes to go.
Push this transient game mode and how victory seems like it's slipped out of grasp for Shade, but that's not actually the narrative here. Everett can still lose this. Remember, it's push. Don't be discouraged. There's still time left, and there's an Annihilation on the field here as well to help clear Voltage and Yui. Both cut now. Everett crippled, and Shade with an opportunity to move up here. Got ultimates to do so as well. The Coalescence, the artillery configuration. You've got the Valkyrie being built as well. Zelds used the barrage, and it was a solo trade. Would have been more worth it to use it later in the fight for Everett? That's a question you can only wonder about now. It's a resource no longer afforded to the team with a lead.
Yeah, and then the res coming in as well, but Roman Noodles now gone out of this fight. They don't have the reses available for anyone else as they're able to come back. The respawns are there as Everett are still in control of this point. 55 seconds to go. Can Shade figure this out? They're gonna have to do something, but Zeld's finding pick after pick on this Pharah, trying to deny them any chance, any doubt of coming back in this fight as they continue to push this forward. There's still opportunities. The Coalescence, the Transcendence, the Shatter onto the board, taking away the Coalescence. Might ever wrap things up for Everett here. The Tactical Visor taking spots out. There's only 3 people left. Not EQO trying their best, trying their hardest, but there's not enough people left on the point. There's 2 people, just the supports left, and they're now gone. The Respawn's trying to get their spots, trying as they will, but it's not looking good. It's down to overtime. If they lose, it's all over as they're gonna push the bot into the end any second now. Maybe not. Now the Annihilation being popped, they have to focus down Icy. They have to focus them down now. Roman Noodles has found Voltage. There might be still a chance for the Shade Central squad as the Shatter comes out, connects the 2. Can they wrap it up? Can Everett finish things off? It's looking good though for Shade to keep this map going for the time being.
There's no way! And the revive on Outfox as well, just to pad the ultimate bank of Shade a little bit more. That was a Annihilate that had come out during that fight. Icy already nearly halfway to another one. You've got some free win condition ultimates on the side of Shade as well, including the Riptire, another Coalescence. This one hopefully not to get canceled by the Shatter. Blaze Donut coming into this next fight close to a Tactical Visor, and Zelds won't have to take too long to build up the barrage as well. The next fight, or rather the last fight, is one that's won by ults here. And Blaze Donut's already making marks.
Yeah, I think that's that pick onto not EQO before they could use the artillery strike really solidified things for Everett. But it was looking really good for Shade there for a second. They had the ultimates, but the overtime bar is not their friend in the end as Everett takes the map and the series in a 2-1 fashion.
And how good it is to have a 2-1 for the last series, Joker. I'm glad that we got to see an ultimate war of attrition between Icy and Outfox. We got to see the support that Usurper, Roman, Voltage, Yui are all capable of, and holy moly, the damage and playmaking potential that are on the rosters, particularly in the DPS positions for both of these teams. You know, Joker, you and I have been talking all season long about the teams like Winber and West Branch, Hollidaysburg, the former champions, Forest Hills, the ones before them. But I'll tell you, you give these 2 teams enough time to synergize with each other, get some dedicated staff to help them pick up certain aspects of the game, and holy smokes, you're looking at some #1 seed contenders. Absolutely.
I heard Lordthethan might be for hire, but
quite possible.
That might be possible. So, but we'll talk about that later. Talk about that in the DMs, not on stream.
That's right.
But it was really good. A really good series from both of these 2 teams. In the end, Everett were the ones to come out on top. But again, 1 or 2 things go in the other direction, and it's all Shade Central here. That's how close this series was in the end, and there's no better way to end things off with the best of the best.
Yeah, 100%. And unfortunate that's all the Overwatch we have for you guys today, but very glad that we got to all be here for that last match. Guys, if you haven't already, follow the Twitch channel so that you guys can get notified of when we go live here on Wednesdays for the high school series Overwatch Divisions 1 and 2, and also so that you guys can be appraised of the other games that TEC broadcasts, including Rocket League and Valorant, I think on Mondays and Tuesdays respectively, right, Joker? Fantastic.
So,
yeah. As well, go ahead and hit up Twitter and follow TEC on Twitter, so you guys can stay up to date with all the latest updates. It's a great way to get connected to the other teams as well. Some of which I think have some Twitters that we can all follow. I follow a couple of these teams. And while you guys are over there, you guys can drop me a follow over at Lordthethan and Joker. I know that you're on Twitter. You inspired me to get on Twitter, actually.
I am, in fact, on
How
Twitter.
dare you?
And make sure to follow us both, because we got some cool things happening next week for both of us. Unfortunately, you won't be here because of said cool thing, but I will. I'm leaving to go on Friday for that, so I'll be here. Same bat channel, same bat place, or same bat time.
Yep.
But someone will be here different than...
I know. It's going to be so sad, and I'm going to miss everyone so much. But the cool thing is that we'll have the week after that. So again, make sure that you guys are staying notified of all the TEC updates, one of which is TEC Con. It's coming back this year. It's in the first, it's June. July. I'm lying through my teeth. July 15th, 2023. Mark it on your calendars. It's going to be an absolute blast. TechCon last year was so much fun. And this year, there are actually a handful of improvements that are being made to make it an even better experience than it was last year. Hard to believe, I know, but it is happening. So put that on your calendars. Make sure that you guys show up. Follow Tech on Twitch, on Twitter, wherever you have to follow to stay updated with all the TEC and these high school teams' latest endeavors. At least for today. That's all we've got for you guys in the booth. Thank you so much for sticking with us the whole time for that last series, and as well for all the series we got to watch. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Be good to each other, and we'll see you next time.